My name is Richard Mallory, and I am a folklore professor specializing in the myths and legends of North America. My work often takes me to remote regions, but nothing could have prepared me for the chilling encounter had in the dense forests of the Canadian wilderness. It was there that I came face to face with the Wendigo, a creature of Algonquin legend that embodies the darkest aspects of human nature. The Wendigo is described as a malevolent, cannibalistic spirit that can possess humans, driving them to commit unspeakable acts. According to the legends, the Wendigo is a creature born of the cold and hunger of the northern forests. A gaunt figure with a heart of ice and an insatiable hunger for human flesh. My journey to uncover the truth behind this terrifying legend began when I received a letter from an old colleague, Dr. Eleanor Gray, who was conducting research in a remote area of Ontario. Eleanor's letter was cryptic and urgent, hinting at a discovery that could change our understanding of the Wendigo legend. She mentioned strange occurrences in the village of Black River, where the locals were living in fear of a creature stalking the woods. Intrigued and concerned, I packed my bags and headed north, determined to assist Eleanor and uncover the truth. I arrived in Black River in the dead of winter, the air biting and the ground covered in a thick layer of snow. The village was small and isolated, nestled among towering pine trees and frozen lakes. The residents were wary and tight-lipped, their eyes reflecting a deep-seated fear. They spoke in hushed tones about disappearances and eerie howls in the night, warning me to stay indoors after dark. Eleanor met me at the local inn, her face pale and drawn. She led me to a small cabin on the outskirts of the village, where she had been staying and conducting her research. Inside, the walls were lined with books and maps, documenting the history and folklore of the Wendigo. She showed me her notes, which detailed a series of disappearances and sightings that had occurred over the past few months. "The legends are true, Richard," she said, her voice trembling. "Something is out there, something that defies explanation. The villagers are terrified, and I fear we may be dealing with a real Wendigo." Eleanor's conviction was unsettling, but I trusted her expertise and dedication to her work. We decided to investigate the most recent disappearance, that of a young hunter named Thomas, who had vanished a week earlier. The villagers believed he had fallen victim to the Wendigo, and we hoped to find clues that could explain his fate. We set out at dawn, the cold biting through our layers of clothing as we trekked through the snow-covered forest. Eleanor led the way, following the tracks left by Thomas on his last hunting trip. The forest was eerily silent, the only sound the crunch of our boots on the snow and the occasional rustle of branches in the wind. As we ventured deeper into the woods, we found signs of a struggle, broken branches, disturbed snow, and bloodstains that led to a small clearing. There, we found Thomas's rifle and a torn piece of his jacket, but no sign of the hunter himself. The air was thick with an oppressive silence, and I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched. Eleanor knelt by the bloodstains, her face grim. "This is where it happened," she said softly. "The Wendigo took him." We followed the trail of blood and tracks, our unease growing with each step. The tracks led us to a cave, its entrance partially hidden by a tangle of roots and snow. The air around the cave was unnaturally cold, and a sense of dread washed over me as we approached. Inside the cave, the darkness was absolute, and the air was thick with the stench of decay. We lit our lanterns, the flickering light casting eerie shadows on the walls. As we ventured deeper, we found more evidence of the Wendigo's bones, both animal and human, scattered across the floor. The sight was horrifying, a testament to the creature's insatiable hunger. In the depths of the cave, we found Thomas. His body was mutilated beyond recognition, his eyes wide with terror. Eleanor and I stood in stunned silence, the reality of the legend hitting us with full force. The Wendigo was real, and it was hunting in these woods. We left the cave, our minds reeling from the discovery. Back in the village, we shared our findings with the local authorities, who were skeptical but agreed to increase patrols and warn the residents to stay indoors after dark. Eleanor and I knew that we couldn't leave without finding a way to stop the Wendigo, to end the terror that had gripped Black River. We delved deeper into the folklore, searching for clues on how to defeat the Wendigo. The legends spoke of fire as the creature's only weakness, a purifying force that could destroy the malevolent spirit. We prepared torches and gasoline, determined to confront the Wendigo and put an end to its reign of terror. That night, as the moon cast an eerie glow over the snow-covered landscape, Eleanor and I set out for the cave. The forest was silent, the air heavy with anticipation. We reached the cave and lit our torches, the flames casting dancing shadows on the walls. As we ventured inside, the temperature dropped, and an unnatural chill filled the air. We moved cautiously, our senses on high alert. In the depths of the cave, we heard a low, guttural growl that sent shivers down my spine. The Wendigo emerged from the darkness, its gaunt, skeletal frame illuminated by the flickering torchlight. It was a terrifying sight, its eyes glowing with a malevolent light, its mouth filled with sharp, yellowed teeth. The creature let out a blood-curdling scream, a sound that echoed through the cave and shook me to my core. We raised our torches, the flames casting a warm glow in the cold, dark cave. The Wendigo hesitated, its eyes fixed on the fire. With a surge of determination, Eleanor and I advanced, the torches held high. The creature recoiled, its fear of the flames evident. We threw the gasoline, the liquid splashing onto the Wendigo's skin. The creature let out a howl of rage and pain as the fire ignited, the flames consuming its gaunt frame. The cave was filled with the acrid smell of burning flesh, and the Wendigo's screams echoed in the darkness. As the flames died down, the creature's body crumbled to ash, leaving behind nothing but a charred skeleton. The oppressive chill lifted, and a sense of relief washed over me. The Wendigo was defeated, its curse lifted from the village of Black River. We emerged from the cave, the first light of dawn breaking over the horizon. The villagers greeted us with a mix of relief and gratitude, their fear replaced by hope. The legend of the Wendigo would live on, but its terror had been vanquished. In the weeks that followed, Eleanor and I documented our findings, sharing the story of the Wendigo and its defeat with the world. Our encounter with the creature had been a harrowing experience, a journey into the darkest depths of human fear and folklore. But it had also been a reminder of the power of determination and courage in the face of the unknown. As I returned to my work as a professor, I carried with me the memory of that chilling encounter, a testament to the enduring power of legends and the mysteries that lie hidden in the shadows of our world. The Wendigo was a creature of myth and reality, a symbol of the darkness that can reside within us all. And its story would continue to captivate and terrify, a reminder of the thin line between legend and truth. My name is Emily Harper, and I am an urban explorer and amateur historian with a keen interest in the unexplained. My adventures have taken me to some of the most mysterious and haunted places in America, but none compare to the eerie pine barrens of New Jersey. It was here, in this sprawling forest, that I encountered the legendary Jersey Devil, a creature that has haunted the region for centuries. The legend of the Jersey Devil dates back to the early 18th century, with tales of a monstrous creature born to Deborah Leeds, a Pine Barrens resident. According to the legend, the creature was her 13th child, cursed from birth to become a demon. Descriptions of the Jersey Devil vary, but it is often depicted as a kangaroo-like creature with bat wings, a horse's head, and a blood-curdling scream. My journey began when I received an email from a fellow explorer named Jack Lawson, who had recently moved to the outskirts of the Pine Barrens. Jack had stumbled upon a series of strange occurrences and sightings that he believed were connected to the Jersey Devil. Intrigued, I packed my gear and headed to New Jersey, eager to uncover the truth behind the legend. I arrived in the small town of Leeds Point, a place steeped in history and folklore. The locals were friendly but cautious, their conversations peppered with warnings about venturing too deep into the woods. Jack met me at the local diner, and over a cup of coffee, he shared his findings. "Emily, there's something out there," he said, his voice low and serious. "I've heard the screams at night, and I've found tracks that don't belong to any known animal. The locals are too scared to talk about it, but they all know the legend. They call it the Jersey Devil." Jack and I spent the next few days gathering information and exploring the area. We spoke with residents who recounted chilling stories of encounters with the creature, stories of livestock mutilations, eerie howls, and sightings of a winged beast lurking in the shadows. The fear in their eyes was genuine, and it only fueled our determination to uncover the truth. Our first expedition into the Pine Barrens was both exhilarating and nerve-wracking. The forest was dense and tangled, with a labyrinth of trails and overgrown paths. The air was thick with the scent of pine and damp earth, and the only sounds were the rustle of leaves and the distant calls of birds. As night fell, the forest took on a more sinister feel, the shadows deepening and the air growing colder. We set up camp near an old abandoned cabin, a relic of the area's logging past. Jack had heard rumors that the cabin was a hotspot for Jersey Devil activity, and we hoped to capture evidence of the creature. As darkness enveloped the forest, we sat by the campfire, our senses on high alert. Around midnight, we heard a distant, chilling scream that echoed through the trees. It was unlike anything I had ever heard, a sound that sent shivers down my spine and made my blood run cold. Jack and I exchanged a glance, our hearts pounding with a mix of fear and excitement. We grabbed our flashlights and cameras, following the sound deeper into the forest. The scream grew louder and more intense, guiding us through the tangled underbrush. Suddenly, the sound stopped, and we found ourselves in a small clearing, illuminated by the pale light of the moon. In the center of the clearing stood the Jersey Devil. The creature was even more terrifying than I had imagined. It stood on two legs, its body covered in coarse, dark fur. Its wings were leathery and bat-like, and its head resembled that of a horse, with glowing red eyes and sharp, jagged teeth. It stared at us with an intelligence and malevolence that was unnerving. For a moment, we were frozen, unable to move or speak. The Jersey Devil let out another scream, its eyes fixed on us. Then, with a powerful flap of its wings, it took to the air, disappearing into the night sky. We stood there, stunned, the reality of what we had seen sinking in. We returned to the cabin, our minds racing with the implications of our encounter. The footage we had captured was undeniable proof of the Jersey Devil's existence, a discovery that would shake the foundations of cryptozoology and folklore. But as we reviewed the footage, we noticed something strange and eerie. Whispering sound in the background, like a voice speaking in an unknown language. Determined to understand more, we spent the following days interviewing more locals and digging into the history of the Pine Barrens. We learned that the legend of the Jersey Devil was deeply intertwined with the region's past. A blend of colonial history, Native American folklore, and tales of witchcraft and curses. One evening, we visited an elderly woman named Abigail, who had lived in Leeds Point her entire life. She welcomed us into her home, her eyes filled with the wisdom of years and the weight of untold stories. Abigail spoke of the Pine Barrens as a place of power, a land that held both beauty and darkness. "The Jersey Devil is more than just a creature," she said, her voice soft and measured. "It's a manifestation of the land's pain and anger. This forest has seen so much suffering, bloodshed, loss. The devil is a reminder of that history, guardian of sorts, though a fearsome one." Abigail's words resonated with me, adding a new layer to our understanding of the Jersey Devil. The creature was not just a monster, but a symbol of the land's troubled past. We realized that to truly understand the Jersey Devil, we needed to respect and acknowledge the history and emotions that had given rise to the legend. Our final night in the Pine Barrens was the most harrowing. We decided to revisit the clearing where we had first seen the Jersey Devil, hoping to have another encounter and gather more evidence. The night was dark and cold, the forest eerily silent as we made our way through the trees. As we approached the clearing, the air grew heavy with tension. We set up our cameras and waited, the minutes stretching into hours. Just as we were about to give up, we heard an agant-chilling scream that had haunted our dreams. The Jersey Devil emerged from the shadows, its eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. But this time, there was something different about the creature. It seemed agitated, its movements jerky and erratic. It let out a series of screams, each one more desperate than the last. Suddenly, the ground beneath us began to shake, and the air filled with a deafening roar. The Jersey Devil took to the air, circling above us before diving into the forest, disappearing from sight. The roar grew louder, and we realized it was coming from the earth itself. A massive crack opened up in the ground, and we barely had time to react as the forest around us seemed to come alive. Trees swayed and groaned, and the air was filled with the sound of breaking branches and falling debris. We scrambled to escape, our hearts pounding with fear. We made it back to the cabin, breathless and shaken. The forest had returned to an eerie calm, but we knew we had witnessed something extraordinary. The Jersey Devil's behavior, the roar, the shaking ground, it all pointed to a deeper connection between the creature and the land itself. In the days that followed, Jack and I compiled our research and footage, presenting our findings to the scientific community and the public. The evidence was compelling, sparking a renewed interest in the legend of the Jersey Devil. Our encounter had confirmed the creature's existence, but it had also raised new questions about the nature of the Pine Barrens and the forces that shaped it. For me, the experience was a profound reminder of the power of legend and the mysteries that still lurk in the world. The Jersey Devil was not just a monster, but a guardian of the land's history, a symbol of the enduring power of fear and wonder. As I returned to my explorations and research, I carried with me the memory of that chilling encounter, a testament to the thin line between legend and reality, and the secrets that lie hidden in the shadows of our world. My name is Carlos Rivera, and I am a wildlife biologist specializing in the study of rare and elusive animals. My work often takes me to remote and challenging environments, but no assignment was as mystifying or as dangerous as my expedition to El Yunque National Forest in Puerto Rico. It was there that I encountered the chupacabra, a creature of legend that has haunted the island for decades. The chupacabra, which translates to goatsucker, is a cryptid known for its alleged attacks on livestock, draining them of blood. Descriptions of the creature vary, but it is often depicted as a reptilian creature with spines along its back, glowing red eyes, and sharp fangs. The legend of the chupacabra emerged in the 1990s, sparking fear and fascination across Latin America and beyond. My journey began when I received a call from Dr. Elena Morales, a fellow biologist and a friend from my university days. Elena had been conducting research in El Yunque and had encountered a series of unexplained livestock deaths that she believed were linked to the chupacabra. Intrigued and concerned for her safety, I agreed to join her and investigate the phenomenon. I arrived in San Juan and made my way to the small town of Rio Grande, nestled at the edge of the lush and verdant El Yunque National Forest. The town was buzzing with rumors and fear, the residents whispering about the recent attacks and the possibility of the chupacabra's return. Elena met me at a local cafe, her expression a mix of excitement and anxiety. "Carlos, I'm glad you're here," she said, her voice tinged with urgency. "I've never seen anything like this. The livestock are being drained of blood, and there are no signs of struggle. The locals are terrified, and I need your help to figure this out." We spent the next few days visiting farms and interviewing residents who had experienced the attacks. The stories were eerily similar: livestock found dead, with puncture wounds on their necks, and their bodies drained of blood. The fear in the eyes of the farmers was palpable, and their descriptions of the creature matched the legend of the chupacabra. One evening, we visited the farm of a man named Manuel, who had lost several goats to the mysterious predator. Manuel was a weathered and stoic farmer, but the fear in his voice was unmistakable as he recounted the night of the attack. "I heard the goat screaming," he said, his hands trembling slightly. "When I ran out, I saw this creature with glowing red eyes and spines along its back. It moved so fast, and before I could do anything, it was gone, and my goats were dead." Manuel led us to the area where the attack had occurred. The ground was disturbed, and there were clear signs of a struggle. We found tracks that were unlike any animal I had ever seen, large, clawed footprints that seemed to belong to a reptilian creature. Elena and I collected samples and took photographs, determined to analyze them back at our makeshift lab. As night fell, we set up cameras and motion sensors around Manuel's farm, hoping to capture footage of the chupacabra. The forest was alive with the sounds of nocturnal creatures. But there was an underlying sense of unease that made the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. We took turns keeping watch, our senses on high alert. Around midnight, the sensors detected movement near the edge of the forest. Elena and I watched the monitors intently, our hearts pounding with anticipation. Suddenly, we saw a shadowy figure moving swiftly through the trees, its eyes glowing in the darkness. The chupacabra had returned. We grabbed our flashlights and cameras, following the creature's movements as it approached the livestock pen. The goats were restless, sensing the predator's presence. We moved closer, trying to stay as quiet as possible. As we neared the pen, the chupacabra emerged from the shadows, its form fully visible in the moonlight. The creature was a terrifying reptilian beast with spines running down its back, sharp claws, and eyes that glowed an eerie red. It moved with a predatory grace, its gaze fixed on the goats. Elena and I froze, captivated by the sight before us. The chupacabra leapt towards the pen, but before it could reach the goats, we activated the floodlights, bathing the area in bright light. The creature let out a screech, its eyes narrowing as it turned towards us. For a moment, I thought it might attack, but then it bolted, disappearing into the forest with incredible speed. We reviewed the footage, our excitement tempered by the realization of how dangerous our quest had become. The chupacabra was real, and it was more than just a legend. We decided to consult with local experts and delve deeper into the folklore. To understand more about the creature and how to protect the livestock, we met with Professor Alejandro Santiago, an anthropologist who had spent years studying the myths and legends of Puerto Rico. He welcomed us into his home, his eyes twinkling with curiosity as we recounted our encounter. "The chupacabra is a fascinating and complex legend," he said, leaning back in his chair. "It embodies the fears and anxieties of the people, a manifestation of the unknown and the unexplained. But your encounter suggests that there is a real creature behind the myth." Professor Santiago shared with us stories and historical accounts of similar creatures, linking the chupacabra to ancient tales of blood-drinking beasts that had haunted the region for centuries. He also spoke of a possible link to escaped laboratory experiments or mutations, adding a layer of scientific intrigue to the legend. Armed with this new knowledge, Elena and I decided to continue our research, focusing on understanding the creature's behavior and finding a way to protect the livestock. We set up more cameras and sensors in strategic locations, hoping to capture more footage and gather data on the chupacabra's movements. One night, while reviewing the footage, we noticed a pattern. The chupacabra seemed to follow a specific route, emerging from the deeper parts of the forest and targeting isolated farms. We mapped out its path, realizing that it moved through a network of caves and tunnels that crisscrossed El Yunque. Determined to find its lair, we ventured into the heart of the forest, navigating through dense foliage and treacherous terrain. The deeper we went, the more the forest seemed to close in around us, the air thick with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves. The sense of being watched was ever present, but we pressed on, driven by our need to uncover the truth. We found the entrance to a cave, partially hidden by a thicket of vines and undergrowth. The air around the cave was cold and still, and a sense of foreboding washed over me as we approached. We lit our lanterns and stepped inside, the flickering light casting eerie shadows on the walls. The cave was dark and labyrinthine, the air thick with the stench of decay. We moved cautiously, our senses on high alert. As we ventured deeper, we found evidence of the chupacabra's bones, both animal and human, scattered across the floor. The sight was horrifying, a testament to the creature's predatory nature. In the depths of the cave, we heard a low, guttural growl that echoed through the tunnels. The chupacabra was close, and we knew we had to be careful. We followed the sound, our hearts pounding with a mix of fear and excitement. Suddenly, the creature emerged from the shadows, its eyes glowing with a malevolent light. It stood before us, its form fully visible in the lantern light. For a moment, we were frozen, unable to move or speak. The chupacabra let out a blood-curdling scream, its eyes fixed on us. Then, with a swift and fluid motion, it lunged towards us. We scrambled to defend ourselves, using the lanterns to keep the creature at bay. The light seemed to confuse it, giving us a chance to retreat. We made our way back through the tunnels, the chupacabra's screams echoing behind us. As we emerged from the cave, the first light of dawn breaking over the horizon, we realized the gravity of our discovery. The chupacabra was not just a legend, but a real and dangerous predator. In the weeks that followed, Elena and I shared our findings with the scientific community and the public, sparking a renewed interest in the legend of the chupacabra. Our encounter had confirmed the creature's existence, but it had also raised new questions about its origins and behavior. For me, the experience was a profound reminder of the mysteries that still exist in our world and the thin line between legend and reality. The chupacabra was a symbol of the unknown, a creature that defied explanation and sparked fear and fascination in equal measure. As I returned to my work as a biologist, I carried with me the memory of that chilling encounter, a testament to the enduring power of legend and the secrets that lie hidden in the shadows of our world.